is Britannica School today. And I always start off all of my training sessions with this question: is Britannica School just an encyclopedia? Well, it is certainly a great resource for Britannica content. We have over 140,000 encyclopedia articles. But in addition to that, and what I'm going to be sharing with you today, is it really is much more than just an encyclopedia. We have thousands of images, so you'll find those with your searches. Downloadable videos. So what's great about that is that both you, your teachers, your students can download videos, view them offline, and also embed them into PowerPoint presentations. If you wanted to use them for social media or for your own web pages, you can certainly do that. We also have a collection of student-friendly websites from a collection of Web's Best Sites, journal and magazine articles, primary source documents, and aligned resources to your TEKS. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump us right into our resource, which is Britannica School. And I think I lost something here. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I thought I lost my Zoom share. There we go. So here we are at the homepage for Britannica School, and this is where you can choose the elementary, the middle, and the high school level. So I can choose any one of these levels, or I can do a search directly from this page. So I'm going to start that off by doing a search. I'm going to do a search here on volcano. As I begin to search, you'll notice that I have popular searches that pop up for me, along with recommended articles, so I can choose any one of those. What's nice about the recommended articles is that if you want your students to get to that information a little bit faster, we always talk about less clicks, that's a great place to go. But today what I'm going to show you is the search results. So I'm actually going to click on this little this little search icon right here. And that is going to take me into all of my search results. And the reason that I wanted to share this with you is because along with our encyclopedia articles, this is where you're going to find all of the different content. So up here at the top of the page, you'll find your images and multimedia. So any videos would display here, and I can actually access additional ones over here on the side. But then in addition to our articles, we've got just a look at all of our images. So you can see images associated with the volcano article. Your video content is going to play from here, as well as your dictionary, and this would be from Merriam-Webster. They're our sister company here at Britannica, so I could click here to view the dictionary definition. Below that, I'll find our magazine and journal articles, Web's Best Sites, and primary source documents. And we'll take a look at an example of some of those in a little bit, but this is really where you're going to be able to find all of that great informational text on one topic in one place. So if students are looking to grab information from multiple sources, or maybe you're asking your students to compare two sources, this is a nice way to give them that information all in one spot. I'm going to head back here to our articles by clicking on this tab here. And let's go into the main article here on volcano. Actually, before I do that, I want to point out up here at the top of the page, we do have our 3 separate levels. So at the very beginning, I was able to search the middle school level, and that gave me content from level 2. However, if at any time I'd like to access my level 1 content, which would be my elementary level content, or my level 3 content, which would be my high school level content, I could do so. So as a middle school student, maybe I'm a 7th grader, but I'm really reading at a 3rd or a 4th grade level, I can easily access the content from level 1 by clicking right here on this tab. This is going to give me elementary level content, but I'm staying in the middle school environment. So I'm keeping this age appropriate for my middle schoolers, but I'm gaining access to the content that's at my reading level. So this is a really nice way to differentiate instruction and learning for your students, giving them access to the appropriate reading level for them. And then they can always come back to level 2, or even those students who want more information or are reading above grade level, they can come right here to level 3. And that will work across all of your levels. So whether you're a high school student who needs elementary level content, or you're an elementary level student who maybe is reading at the high school level, it can always move both ways. Let's head into the article on volcano here, and this is where I'm going to find additional tools to support my reading and research. At the top of the page, I have the ability to adjust that reading level again. So I can click on reading level 1 right here, and that's going to give me access to my elementary level text, but again, staying in that middle school environment. I think that's actually where it's a little bit more useful for kids. They can see the text if it's a little overwhelming for them, grab down to the elementary level, gain access to that, and then head back up to the 2 if they, or middle school level if they can. At the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you'll find our toolbar, and this is where you'll have access to some really unique tools on Britannica. One of them is our favorite, or our star tool. So if I click on this icon here, this will allow me to save this article to my own personal account on Britannica School called My Britannica. That's actually going to prompt me to log in here. We'll take a look at that a little bit later on in the half hour. But before we do that, I want to point out a few more tools. Over here, I can print the article out. I can email this article to myself or to someone else. I also have the ability to cite the article. So I can click here to cite, and I can click on MLA, APA, Harvard, and Chicago Manual of Style. So we do have automatic citations for all of our articles. And I can just copy and paste this right into my Works Cited page. Next to the citation tool, I have the ability to translate this article into any language. So we have over 80 languages to choose from. I just clicked here on the translate tool, and I'm going to select right here, and I'm just going to do simplified Chinese. And what's going to happen is my entire article will translate for me, so I'm able to view that. It's a nice way for your students who have English as their second language, or emerging English readers. Also for that home to school connection, if you've got parents at home that are have a different native language, this is a nice way to support that home to school connection. And then at the very top of the page, I can click Show Original, and that will take me back to my original English text. Next to the translate tool, I have the ability to read or have the article read aloud to me by clicking on the listen icon. So I'm going to click on that, and you're not going to hear this right now because it's coming through my earphones right now, and you're hearing my microphone, but it is reading the article as we move through, and it's highlighting the text as it's reading, obviously, here. So this is a nice way to support students with their fluency and building that fluency, and also your auditory learners, a nice way to allow them to listen to the article and perhaps take notes as they go through. Next to the listen icon, I have the font up and down. So I can click on the plus sign here to make the text nice and large. And then I can click on the minus sign over here to make it smaller. So that's a nice tool for kids who need or prefer that larger text. But also if you plan to use this for any sort of whole group instruction on a smartboard or a projection screen, kids at the back of the group would be able to see the text a little bit easier. On the left-hand side of the page, you're going to find a tab for your article, which we're looking at right now. I can also choose to look at images and videos. And I'm going to scroll through here so we can take a look at an example video. Let's take a look at this one right here. And so the video is playing, and there is sound for this. I can make this full screen by clicking on that icon here, and then click on Escape to make it smaller. And then within the video here, I have the ability to download this video. Like I mentioned at the very beginning, all of our videos are downloadable, so you can click on the download link, and that will automatically download your video. It's done that right down here in the lower left. So lots of different uses for this. All of our video and image content is also automatically cited. So you'll see all those same features up here at the top. So I can click on the citation tool, and this is really important to make sure that students are citing their information properly. I can just copy and paste that right into whatever project I'm working on. So whether that be my PowerPoint or maybe I'm posting it to a web page, I can just add that citation right in there. Next to the images and videos, I have a tab for related. So this is going to give me related content. This is a nice way to drive inquiry for students. If students are reading about volcanoes but are looking to kind of follow those trails of research, they can come down here and find things that are related to the article of volcano. And then right over here, we have our teacher tab. And this gives me a couple of different pieces of information. The first one is our Lexile measure, so I'm going to be able to find that from here. And then I also have my correlation. So I can click right here on my US state standards and then pull down to my TEKS. Choose a subject area. For this particular article, we have both language arts and science standards that are correlated. So I'm going to choose language arts. And then I can choose my grade level from here. So I'm going to choose 7th grade and then click view results. And that's going to give me all my TEKS that are correlated to this article. So if I'm lesson planning and I want to pull these out, copy and paste them, they're right here for me, or I can know that I'm just meeting those standards or helping to meet those standards with this article. All right, one last thing I want to point out to you within the article itself, so I'm going to head back here to this tab, is something called the Quick Click Dictionary. And that was created so that if students are reading through text and they come across a word that they're unfamiliar with or they don't know, they can simply double click on that word and the definition will pop up for them in a separate window. So if I'm a student and I'm reading through this text and I come across the word lava and I'm not sure what that word means, I'm just going to double click on it and I'm going to find the Merriam-Webster's definition of the word. I'm also going to be able to find the pronunciation of the word. So I can click on this little volume icon here, and that will read the word aloud to me. And then next to the tab here for English, we also have the Spanish translation of the word. For lava, it's the same. So let's do another example here. Let's see, well, maybe we'll do eruptions. And here we can see we've got the definition, the pronunciation, and then the Spanish translation. So a really nice tool for students who need that extra support with new vocabulary. Maybe they don't need the entire article translated or don't want to have that all translated. This is a nice support for them. All right, at this time, what I'd like to do is actually take us back to that main homepage. So I'm going to do that by clicking on Britannica School in the upper left here. And I'd like to give you just a quick tour of each one of the home pages. We did a search directly from this page, but each one of the home pages, the elementary, the middle, and the high, has its own unique features built in. So this is where students can come and explore our content in different ways. We have these different activities that scroll across the screen here. These change every single week, so you'll always have new activities to come through. Below that, you're going to find our Discover Britannica section, and I can click Show More or Show Less, and this will actually come right out. And just a couple of features I want to point out to you here on the elementary level. One is the Animal Kingdom. This is a resource that's just available on the elementary level and allows for kids to explore animals by group and by habitat. So I can explore any one of the animals here. We'll do the example here by habitat. I can choose the polar tundra region, and that's going to pull up a little bit of an example about what a polar tundra region is. And then I can scroll through and find all the animals that we have in that area. So this is nice when kids are learning about their biomes and their habitats, for them to come and explore and find new articles and new animals to read about. Also here in the elementary level, you do have, I'm just going to point this out, but this is a really great resource if you do work with the pre-K through 2nd grade group. This is the Britannica Learning Zone. It's our primary learning environment. There's lots of fun interactive things for you to do there. And then the last feature here to point out to you, just available on our elementary level, is our Geography Explorer. And this is a place where students can come to learn about the world around them and their continents, their oceans and seas, mountain ranges, major rivers, and we also have points of interest for them to label. But it's really fun. I can click here to begin. And this is Jog down here. He's telling me all of the things that I need to do. So he's actually reading this out loud to the students. And he's asking me to drag the cloud to the continent I think it belongs to. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull this right up. And then he colors it in for me. So a lot of times teachers will use this as a paper and crayon or colored pencil task while they're doing it on their interactive whiteboard or their projection screen. Or kids can do this on their own too, at their own computers. And let me show you what happens if I get one incorrect. He tells me, oops, try again. I'm going to try it again. It gives me a little hint. It's shaped like an ice cream cone. I'm going to try it one more time. And he tells me, oh dear, let's move on. So then he colors it in for me, and we're going to move along to the next one. So I'll just show you what happens once we complete the continents. This is just a nice way too for kids to have that repetition so they finally learn their continents. After we do the continents, we can do the seas and oceans. So I'm going to just do that. And you can see how we've got the paint bucket, and that fills in our ocean for us, and we can continue on. All right, I'm going to exit out of the Geography Explorer. I'm actually going to come back here to our homepage, our main homepage, and enter into the middle school level to point out a few things here. There's lots of, again, different engaging tools to kind of engage students on our content that they wouldn't find necessarily with doing a search, or they might not know to search. Then over here on the right-hand side, we've got our Explore Britannica. And one of the features I wanted to share with you here is the World Atlas. This is really great for country research. For example, if I'm studying France and I'd like to find out all the information that we have on France, we can do that because I'll have the summary with the link to the article from here. I'm going to also find a snapshot of profile information. So kind of that initial information that kids are looking for when they're first starting out their country research. And then we'll also find our related tab from here. So this is going to give us related people, and I can click here to read more. Then within the map itself, I have some nice tools. I can click right here on the satellite, and that's going to give me an actual satellite picture of France. And from here, I can zoom in and out. So I can double click, and that's going to allow me to zoom in. I can also use my tool over here. And I'm going to zoom in on Paris and start to see tops of buildings, kind of get an idea of the topography of the region if I wanted to. And then once I'm here, if I'd like to see a street view, I can do that by clicking on my little stick figure over here and pulling it down to anywhere I see blue. So this just gives kids a way to have a kind of a virtual field trip. Oh, we're going right to Starbucks, right in Paris, downtown Paris. But you can kind of move along and find anywhere you'd like to go. All right, so I'm going to move along here. We've got just over 12 minutes left. So what I'd like to do is share with you that high school level. I'm going to click here. And in our high school level, some of the things to point out, we do have our Discover Britannica right up here at the top of the page. We also have some nice engaging tools like Behind the News, giving background information on the stories that are happening in the news right now. On this date in history, which gives you an important event that happened on today's date. We also have important quotes for in their words, and science and pictures, which just gives you an engaging image in the umbrella of STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math, and then links you to those articles. Below that, you'll find lots of other tools, but one of the ones that I want to point out to you is over here on the right-hand side of the page. We do have our recommended U.S. primary source documents. This gives you an idea of some of our most used primary source documents in the U.S. curriculum. What I'd like to do right now, I'm actually going to scroll back up here to the top of the page and click on the My Britannica feature. My Britannica is a place on Britannica School where both you and your students can create your own personal accounts. So this is a place where you'll be able to save articles, images, videos, primary source documents, all sorts of things to your own personal space on Britannica. To sign up, you would click right here on Sign Up. And those of you who are subscribers through TextQuest, what we can do is type in your username, your password, and then retype that password in. So that could be any username and password that you'd like. So it's going to be one that you create on your own. So both you and your students can do this. There's actually two levels to an account. There's an educator level and a student level. The student level only has to fill in these three fields and then click OK. But as an educator, we need to fill in the rest of the fields. So fill in the email address here and then a school code. And through TextQuest, we've made the school code really easy. So everybody who's a subscriber through TextQuest would use the same school code, which is TextQuest. So pretty easy. So you'd write that down, and that's going to give you access to a couple of additional tools that are in the educator account. So that kind of lets us know at Britannica that yes, let's turn on all the educator materials for this user. So I'm going to exit out of that because that's just showing you the sign-in process. And now what I want to do is log into an account that I've already created. So this is an account that I created using a school code. So this is going to give me the extra tools. I'm going to click OK. And here is my account. Up here at the top of the page, I have my Britannica, and that's opened up to my content along with the lesson plan browse. If I were logging in as just a student, I would only have access to this link here. So let's take a look at what both me and my students have access to first. This takes me into my content where I'm going to find favorites and resource packs. My favorites are all of my favorite things. So all my favorite articles, images, videos, primary source documents, anything that I wanted to save to this account. My resource packs are kind of like my own online file folders. This is how I'm going to organize my information. So for example, I have a resource pack on women's rights. I have a resource pack on Thomas Jefferson. If I scroll down further, let's take a look at an example down here that I've done. Here's on Mount Rushmore that I'm actually going to collect to share with my students. So I've collected a video, I've collected a couple of images, a timeline, some things to talk about the different presidents that are on Mount Rushmore. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll notice that I've taken notes. So I can write notes for myself. So if I'm a student that's collecting this information, I might be typing research notes in here. And then as a teacher or library media specialist, what we can do is actually type in notes that I want to share with other teachers. So if I'm in the library and I want to collect some things that I know that my fourth grade teacher is going to use and need for their biomes project or their president's project, I can send that to them. If I wanted to collect this information and share it with students, and that's the example I'm using here, I can do that. And I've actually asked some discussion questions in here and given them some instructions in the notes. Every single resource pack in Britannica School is shareable. So they make a unique link for you, and up here at the top you'll find Share Pack. And that's where I'm going to be able to copy and paste that link and put it on my LibGuide if you've got one, if you wanted to put it into your Google Drive or your LMS learning management system, or if you just wanted to email it or simply put it on the board and say, if you want great information, go to eb.com/17409. So you've kind of curated this information and put that out there for students or for teachers or whoever you want to share it with. So it's really easy to save something to your account and put it into a resource pack. I'm going to do a search right up here at the top of the page, and I'm going to do a search on, we're going to do Halloween. So now I'm going to find my images, articles, etc. And if I want to save that, all I need to do is click on this little star right here. And I can add it to an existing resource pack. So I can do that here. Or I can create a new resource pack. Either way, I'm going to choose to put it into an existing resource pack because I do have one down here called Halloween. And then I'm going to exit out of this. And when I pop back up here and click on my content, I am going to find that I've just saved this article. And then if I want to share this information with my students, I'm going to go down to my Halloween project or resource pack. And I can click Share Pack right here, and that's going to allow me to share it. And then I can also take notes and send those to my students as well. Now, because we're logged in as educators, we have an additional tool, which is the ability to convert this project to a lesson plan. So I can do that by clicking on this button right here, and it takes me into what we call our lesson plan builder. And this gives me 5 easy steps. I can type in details, my subject and duration. So I'm going to choose that this is history and social studies, how long it's going to take me. Maybe it's a 15-minute class period over a couple of days or a few days. I can write in my objective and assessment from here. So anything that I'd like my students to accomplish and how I'm going to assess them. I'm also going to be able to put in my step-by-step procedures. So I can click here and add those in and add in as many as I'd like. And then finally, my additional information. So this is going to be things like materials, along with home extensions, discussion questions, curriculum standards, teacher tips, and differentiations and modifications. And then at the end, I have two options. My first option is to save as lesson plan. And that is going to show up right here in my lesson plans. I call this my bank of lesson plans over here, and it just keeps it private for me. If you've created a really great lesson plan and you'd like to share it with others, you can click Save and Publish Plan. And where that's going to live is here in your lesson plans, but also in the lesson plan browse. So that actually publishes your lesson plan to our what we consider our education community right here on Britannica School. And teachers from across the nation will be able to view your lesson plan, but totally up to you if you want to share or not. And let me show you what that browse looks like. So even if you don't share your lesson, you are more than welcome to look at all of the great lessons that other educators have published right here in the lesson plan browse. So this is a nice way to get an idea of how other educators are using Britannica and maybe even customize their lesson. So I can filter by grade level and subject area, but I'm just going to come into this one here. This is a science lesson for 3rd through 5th graders. And you can see this full lesson. This is what a completed lesson looks like once you've filled out that whole lesson plan builder. We've got our step-by-step procedures, all this great stuff. But maybe this is something that works, but it looks like we've got our Florida state standards right down there, and we want to put in our TEKS. What I can do is click right up here where it says Customize, and I'm going to be able to customize this just for myself. So I can change any of the materials, including the resources, and I can adjust anything that I'd like and just kind of use that as a template. So all that great stuff that this teacher's already put in, all that work, you get to use and kind of jump off of and make things your own. And then at the end, I can save as a lesson plan and then click Save and Publish if I'd like to republish this lesson plan with my TEKS or however I'm adjusting it. And again, all of that great stuff was up here because I logged in to my Britannica. So we are coming to the end of our half hour here. So what I want to do is just provide you with my information. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to keep in touch. Email me at darcy@eb.com, and my phone number is there on the screen as well. So thank you so much for joining the webinar today. And those of you who are viewing the recorded version, please feel free to reach out to me as well with any questions you have.
Darcy, if you would look at the chat, there was a question.
Oh, sure. Let's see if I can find that. There we go. Yes, that's a great question. The question is, do students and teachers create unique usernames and passwords? Yes, when you're creating your My Britannica account, to access the first part before we looked at Britannica, or excuse me, the My Britannica section, you'll have a district-wide username and password or a school-wide username and password just to access the content. But then if you're creating your own My Britannica account, that's where you'll be creating your own username and password. And then the question also is about the Britannica School app. We do not have an app because we do have responsive design. So that means that if you are using it on your phone or on your tablet, your iPad, you should be able to get the same experience. But what we do recommend, because kids love to click on that little bookmark, is just to bookmark Britannica School, so it kind of acts as an app. You click on it and it opens right up. And then the last question here, is it within AML, which is Access My Library? If you have access to Britannica School, you should be able to put that in. That's, I'm assuming, a kind of a learning management system or library management system, so that students can access it from there.
Feel free, if y'all want to unmute your mic and talk to her, that's fine too. Any other questions? I know y'all's internet's messing up, so I apologize for y'all's problem. Laura, do you have any questions out there? No? Jan, I think you're frozen, unfortunately. Looks like. Well, okay, then I guess we will end this if it doesn't have any questions. And again, y'all have Darcy's information, so definitely feel free to get a hold of her and ask her any questions, or get a hold of me and I'll find out the answer for you as well. And we appreciate you showing up. This is the first of the different series. I think we have another one, Net Tricker, on Thursday. So I'm just going to kind of keep working with the different vendors, and as they want to keep doing them, we'll keep posting them, and we'll keep the videos up there so y'all can watch them anytime, all the time. Darcy, anything else you want to say?
No, thank you so much for having me, and
Sure, thanks.
please feel free to contact me with any questions.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Have a great day.
You too.